Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to sit down and play with some new products that I have that I purchased from Black-owned brands, but mostly I wanted to talk about everything that's been going on in the world. I am not ignorant to everything that's been happening with the Black Lives Matter movement, and I really wanted to talk about my experience as an ally, things that I've learned, amplify some of my Black friends' voices and the things that they've told me. So let's get right into it. I wanted to really start out by saying that I am by no means a perfect ally. I am learning so much during this time period, and I have been, struggling a little bit. If you're really empathetic like me, I struggle a little bit with the constant flow of negative information, and that's kind of difficult to deal with, but I have been doing my best to focus on the forward instead of the present. Not that we don't need to be paying attention to what's happening right now, but thinking about more sustainable ways that we can be allies for the Black community while still, being aware of everything that's happening right now. But I also want to say, any kind of struggle that we have as allies is nothing like the struggle that the Black community faces every single day, and I'm very aware of that, and I hope that my other white allies especially are aware of that as well, that we are very privileged to be struggling with all of the information. I'm very privileged to be sitting here at home learning about everything that's happening and not experiencing it. So I kind of wanted to speak to people who are trying to be allies and trying to do the best that they can in a time like this to support the Black community in the most effective ways. Posting on Instagram is not going to be the most effective way. Yes, spreading important information is a really good way to be an ally, but we have to do other things. And I think it's really important, as especially white people who have significantly more money, let's be honest, with more money and more generational wealth, which I'll kind of get into later. It's kind of our job to use our money. Our money speaks louder than you might think. So making little changes to things that you buy all the time, like the other day I realized I needed new candles for my room, and I saw a thread on Twitter about Black-owned candle brands, so I got some candles. They're really cute. Hang on. They're by Miami Garden, and they're really, really cool, and they have a bunch of rose petals in it, which is really pretty. This is the Black Lives Matter one. And this is black raspberry and vanilla, and then I also got a lemon pound cake one as well, and they smell so good. But I think little things like that are going to make a huge difference if we can continuously be conscious of where we're putting our money. And with that being said, though, I think it can be really overwhelming to see all of the information online and be like, oh my gosh, all of these companies are donating to Trump, or they're all donating to whatever. They don't stand for my values, or they are using prison labor, or things like that. And it's so many companies that we use every day. It would be really hard to immediately boycott all of these businesses. So I've just been trying to give myself a little bit of grace in that, and being conscious of it and making different choices, but also being aware of the fact that I'm a college student, and bigger companies and bigger brands and bigger corporations are going to give me the products that I can afford more easily, but also being very conscious of when and where I can purchase something else from someone else. Purchasing from Black-owned brands is a really great way, especially consistently choosing a Black-owned brand. If I buy my candles from that brand in the future, instead of just running to TJ Maxx and buying those, it's a really good way to be a consistent ally and not just showing up while the Black Lives Matter movement is trending. Of course, voting is really important, but I think that a lot of people don't recognize exactly how much privilege we have in being able to vote. Oh, I got this new palette by Juvia's Place. Well, it's new to me, it's not new to them. This is the Tribe, and it has a lot of greens and teals, so that's what we're going to be dipping into today. But I was talking about how privileged we are to be able to vote, and even though it can seem like our vote does not matter, and we kind of saw that in Donald Trump being elected. However, a lot of people don't consider or think about the fact that if you're convicted of a felony, you're not able to vote, which is something that disproportionately affects the Black community. A lot of people come to me and they're like, well, if you break the law, then you break the law, you know the consequences. But I've never seen a cop car patrolling my neighborhood. And I know that there are kids out here doing illegal things. Like, people are smoking weed all the time over here. People are, probably doing worse. And they aren't getting reprimanded in the same way that the black community typically does. So, therefore, the prison system disproportionately impacts Black Americans. And that's something that we all need to pay attention to and think about. The way that our society has criminalized particularly Black men, but Black people in general. We have criminalized them since slavery ended. And we have been pushing this idea, this stereotype of the Black criminal for generations and generations. And it's so ingrained in us that we don't even notice it. We're not even conscious of it. And I think that educating ourselves on the history is very important because the public school system has failed us in that regard. I was a senior in high school and I took a class called 20th Century Civil Rights and Liberties, and that was honestly the most rewarding class I've ever taken in public school, just because it taught me so many things that I didn't learn about the loophole in the 13th Amendment in my AP US History class. I didn't learn that. I learned it in the documentary 13th, which I watched my senior year. And I know that a lot of people are saying that you need to watch it now, and I do. I highly recommend. That was a very eye-opening experience for me to watch that documentary. It really puts a lot of things into perspective. It's very informative and it's very eye-opening, and I think that a lot of people would benefit from watching it. And just being aware of our prison system, our justice system, and how unfair and how biased it is. And it's not even biased that we all are even aware of. So I think that right now, as allies, we do need to be signing the petitions, we do need to be donating when we can, we do need to be protesting in the streets, but we also need to think about sustainable and consistent ways that we can be the best allies that we can be to the Black community. That's something that I've been trying to focus on more recently, thinking about looking at my life and thinking of ways that I can be more supportive, ways that I can lift up the Black community, and I hope that I'll be able to do that in whatever career path I choose. I don't know what I'm doing with my life yet, but I know that I want to. All I really know when it comes to my life is that I want to be able to use the significant privilege that I have to be able to attend college, to receive this education, receive that degree, and I want to use that to help people who don't have the privilege that I was given. So this post that I saw, it was about getting loans from family members to purchase your own house, and they said this is what generational wealth looks like, and that really was something that stuck out to me, just because I was like, oh wow, I think about my grandparents, they didn't have a ton of money. So sometimes the idea of generational wealth is interesting to me, but if I wanted to buy my own house, I could get a loan from my parents, and that's the kind of wealth that we don't typically see in Black communities and minority communities in general. That was something that really stuck out to me. I think that one of the biggest problems that white people have in accepting the effects of systemic and systematic racism in our country is that it's just a poverty thing and it's not a race thing. Of course, there's some truth to it, and I think that the two go very much hand in hand. However, I think that it's important to understand how the Black community became so impoverished, generally speaking, in such crime-ridden communities and having this lack of wealth that white people typically enjoy. Yes, the two tend to go hand in hand, but the reason why they do is because of race and the fact that in our capitalist society we benefit from the oppression and exploitation of minorities. We benefit from cheap labor all over the world, and knowing that you can hire a Black man and pay him less than a white man is beneficial to businesses and companies, and it's something that we really, really need to address. And I obviously don't have all the answers, but the awareness that's being spread right now I think is really important, and it gives me hope, especially pertaining to the criminal justice system. I've been thinking about this for a while, since I watched that documentary my senior year of high school, and I always tell people that they should watch it, and a lot of times, people don't want to hear it, but that documentary was something that really opened my eyes to a lot. And another thing that opened my eyes significantly was this video of the privilege walk. And we actually did it in that class, which was really, really interesting. It was a small class, so it wasn't as impactful as it would be in a bigger group, but that was something that was very, very eye-opening for me, just because it was things that you don't think about, you know. Having a parent home to help you with your homework when you're a child. Having a parent that reads you a book every night before you go to sleep. You know, having access to a tutor. Things like that, all of these things that I had, I never realized how much they pushed me forward and gave me an upper hand on a lot of people. And that was something that really stuck out to me. I actually wrote a paper this past semester, first semester of this year, about intergenerational incarceration. And in doing research for that paper, I was just blown away. Like, we don't think about the way that minority communities are targeted and how much that affects families. And I was very ignorant and very blind to that problem for a very long time. Intergenerational incarceration is something that is a very, very vicious cycle. Obviously, I have no personal experience with it whatsoever. It's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. And the fact that so many white people are able to, for example, with marijuana, a lot of white people are able to profit from it in states where it is legal. A lot of these stores that sell weed legally are owned by white people, and there are just far too many Black Americans that are in prison for the rest of their lives because of nonviolent drug crimes. And even if it's not for the rest of their lives, like, they're missing out on their families, they're missing out on their kids. And this could be my white privilege speaking, but I think that one thing that this world just needs is more compassion and empathy. Like, so many white people, it's so easy for them to say, like, if you don't want to go to jail, don't do something legal. But that's, like, way easier said than done. First of all, imagine being in an impoverished community. Imagine having no money. Imagine your parents having no money. Particularly having a father figure missing, or just being raised by a single parent in general. A lot of people don't consider the lives that minority communities and Black communities particularly have been facing for generations. And this isn't just right now. It's generations of this. And we need to be having more conversations, particularly within the white community, which is something that I've been really trying to do. I have trouble sometimes because I'm so passionate. I am sometimes unable to articulate the things that I want to say, but I think that that is something that's incredibly important, and we need to be making more people aware of the privilege that we have simply for being white and how much it can make a difference, because our voices are just listened to. It's sad, but it's true. Our voices are listened to so much more than a Black voice. And I've been trying to make myself a lot more attentive, especially to my own implicit biases. And I've been trying to have conversations with my close Black friends and really trying to tackle my own biases, my own privilege. I've been really trying to start with myself, start with my family. I do want to make it clear that it's not any Black person's job to educate us on the plight that they face in their community. There are so many resources for us to utilize on our own that we need to. However, it's not harmful per se to have conversations with your Black friends just about things that you might be unsure of. Like my sweet friend Gary, who I just adore. I saw a post on Instagram about using the term African American versus Black, and he talked to me about it, and he was saying that it's kind of insensitive sometimes because it assumes that any Black person in our country has African heritage. And he was like, like, I have a lot of Cherokee heritage, and that's being disregarded in that statement. Like, it minimizes him to just being African American. It's like, I had no idea what Juneteenth was. Where has my education failed me? I had no idea what that was. I was never taught that. And it's things like that that we need to kind of take control of. And in the long term, we need to have more Black history in public schools. But, for now, we can take it upon ourselves, I guess. This palette is fantastic, by the way. This, really bright shade on my inner corner and the inner part of my lid looks so plain in the pan. I thought it was just your basic light gold shimmer, but it has all of these neon green reflex, and it is beautiful. I got a foundation from Beauty Bakery. It's called the Instabake Aqua Glass Foundation. Very excited about this one. So essentially what I'm trying to get at, I guess, is that as an ally, we need to be thinking of ways that we can consistently show up for the Black community, and not just for a little bit, and not just because it's trending right now. For me, I'm trying to be more conscious of buying Black-owned beauty brands because I am a significant consumer of makeup, and I feel like that's where I can help, and I'm trying to think about the things that I buy consistently and how I can be trying different things and purchasing from different companies and things like that are going to be more long-term than just showing up at the protests and posting stuff on Instagram. Like, this is what's going to be a long-term solution, and just continuously paying attention to your own biases that we all have. Also, for me, like, I've been trying to not be too hard on myself, and, you know, knowing that I'm thinking about it every day and reading things every day and having conversations with people every day is more than a lot of people are doing, and I'm trying to give myself a little bit more grace in that regard. However, I don't want to slip up and stop showing up and stop educating myself and working to educate others and using my privilege in the best way that I possibly can. And this is really pretty. I'm gonna use my Juvia's Place concealer, which I'm obsessed with. Another thing that I really wanted to kind of address and talk about is the fact that a lot of white people don't think that it's our problem. Like, they don't think that it's our job. They're like, well, we weren't the slave owners. Why is it our problem? That bothers me for a multitude of reasons. It bothers me because why don't you care? Also, just the general understanding of white privilege has been just lost on them, which is upsetting. And I think that, like, yes, like, I never owned slaves, but you have to be aware of the fact that the results of slavery and Jim Crow and segregation and all of that is still very much prevalent. All of those racist feelings and racist ideas and all of that is still very, very much heavily ingrained in our society. And Black people and minorities in general have been trying to address it for so long, and nobody has listened. So that's why it's our responsibility to step up and say, like, listen to these people. They're people, mind you. They aren't just poor or Black or Hispanic or whatever it may be. Like, they're people, and they're trying to tell you about the racist and unfair society that we live in. And until we do that, we won't be able to truly have a country that is equal for all. A lot of people have the mindset that if you're doing something illegal or resisting arrest or doing anything like that, then that's why these things happen. I don't think that's fair for many reasons, but particularly because I don't think that resisting arrest means that you deserve to get shot. I don't think that robbing a store means that you deserve to get shot. I don't think that anybody really deserves to get shot unless they're shooting at you. And even then, I'm very much like, why can't you just shoot someone, like, in the knee? You know, if you're actually in danger, if you're actually in jeopardy. Do cops put their lives on the line every day? Yeah, they do. Very brave of them. Also, it's a job. It's not, I don't know, the color of their skin. It's the profession that they chose. And if you are unable to de-escalate a situation to prevent someone being shot and killed, then I don't really think that you should be doing that job. But again, police brutality is only a part of the problem of racism in our country, and that's what I think a lot of people aren't really getting at. It wasn't just about George Floyd. It wasn't just about a person. It wasn't just about a few people. It's about all of the ways in which our country discriminates against people of color, and particularly Black people. It's a call for people to listen and say, look at the ways that we are treated. There's a lot of different realms that need to be attacked in order to achieve this. Medical racism is very much prevalent. You know, environmental racism. Minorities and poor people around the world suffer the most from climate change. No one really likes to address that. I think a lot of people don't know about it. The next product that I got was from Uomo Beauty, and they didn't have a really good selection of either Beauty Bakery or Uomo Beauty at Ulta when I went, but this is a gloss, and it's pink, so I'm not really sure how it's gonna look with this look, but we're gonna go for it. This smells amazing, by the way, and it feels really good. The biggest thing for white people to understand right now is that we need to be listening to our black friends. We need to be listening to the black community as a whole. We need to be paying attention, and we need to be amplifying black voices. We need to be using our voices to educate others in our communities that may not understand what's going on. We need to be consistently supporting black-owned businesses. We need to be lifting up black creators. We need to be tackling our own implicit biases, and we need to be educating ourselves on black history. These things don't happen in a vacuum. The racial tensions in our country didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's been like this, and we need to be thinking about how we can move forward to level the playing field, even out the starting line, and make this country a place where anyone can or be whatever they want and not be held back by, intergenerational imprisonment or a lack of good education. Because if you think that the public education system is evenly dispersed and evenly funded, then you are wildly incorrect. So essentially, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit about how I've been trying to be the best ally I can be, and hopefully inspire some more action and some more consistent allyship, if you will. But of course, this isn't about me, this isn't about other white people, this isn't about us feeling like we're good people. This is about how we can be the most consistent and the most effective allies that we can be to the black community. And all of us have our part to play. We all have a lane that we can choose in this fight, and I think we all need to take it. Take a step back and think, how can I help create a better country and a better environment, a better community for people who weren't put on the same playing field as we were. I think that the best way to really create the most change is going to be through consistent changes, consistent choices, and consistent education, consistent conversations, allowing yourself to be wrong, allowing yourself to be called out. I've been so grateful for the friends that I've had that have called me out and are informing me of the ways that I can be the best ally that I can be. I hope someone took something away from this video. Of course, it's not about me, it's not about me being a good ally, it's not about my journey. I've just been trying to share the ways that I have been helping and the ways that I feel will be the most influential. I want to amplify the voices that I've been so grateful and so lucky to have in my life, and I hope that everyone kind of starts to make little changes. So I hope everyone is doing well, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.